So, good morning, everyone. How is your morning?
Good morning, Sangeeta ma'am.
Good morning. So, everybody has this question: what is the difference between self love and being selfish? Being selfish is some word which we have heard so often in our life. Either people tell us that, oh, you can't do that, otherwise, you are being selfish. We have heard that word from our childhood. And many times that stops us from doing many things. So if you are not thinking about yourself and you are thinking about uh, all the time, like you are thinking about, sorry, about yourself and not about somebody else, many times it is being labeled as being selfish. So yesterday when I asked, how do you define that you love yourself? Majority said, now I pay attention to myself. Everywhere now was a common word, which implies that before that I didn't do that. And before that, if you didn't do that, obviously it was for us programming that we have received throughout our life that it's wrong to think about ourselves. So if I have to weigh both the words, and if I think about self love and I close my eyes, the first feel that comes is so pure, so pristine. That's what you vibrate with. And the minute you think about being selfish, there is a constant negative energy or the connection that comes in. Was it meant to be like that? Or how is our human body programmed? And there are many times there is a very small, fine line between the two. So when we say I feel it's cyclic. We continue our journey from what we define as self love to being selfish and being selfish to being self loved. But the energy that it carries, both the words, is very, very different. And it becomes the big self sabotaging pattern for us when we start labeling ourselves for being selfish. Majority clients that we have received blocked themselves not because people had called them selfish, they blocked their growth because they felt it's selfish if I think about myself. It's selfish if I take out that time and I'm doing my exercise. If it is selfish if I go for a vacation when my time is required here. It is selfish if I ask for this. It's selfish if I do that. And as many times as we use the word selfish, we put ourselves down. And somewhere we block ourselves from connecting to our own selves or the divine self. So let's understand how these two words have a different energy with which it vibrates. So, Mac, can you show this slide, please? So, there are a few points that I have put for all of you. When I say I love myself, I vibrate with self love, it makes me feel very liberated. Because if I love myself, I'm not waiting for people's approval. I'm not waiting for people to tell me that, oh, I love you. Because majority time we wait for people to say that I love you. Then only I feel being loved by. Isn't your duty, your journey is with your soul? No matter what relationship you have with others, whether it's your spouse, your parents, your children, your best friend, how many lifetimes are they together with you? Why are we constantly waiting for somebody to tell us I love you, somebody to make us feel being loved by? So when I know I vibrate with self-love, it's very liberating energy. When I feel I'm being selfish, that word itself puts me in lot of limiting beliefs, which like I cage myself, and it is that I am being chained with it, not even realizing that my stagnation or being stuck is coming from my own set of beliefs that, oh, I am being selfish if I think about myself, if I love myself, if I accept myself, if I prioritize myself, if I stop judging myself. When I say the word self love, the energy is very expansive. It feels like the energy is expanded energy. When we think about Krishna, we always feel that such an expansive energy. So, some energies which we feel is pure love. We connect it with the energy of pure love. So, when we start becoming that, we start loving ourselves, our auric field, our energy becomes very expansive. But thinking that being selfish or labeling somebody being selfish, labeling ourselves being selfish, the selfish word comes with a very constricting energy. Self love will always pull you up. When you are love, when you spread love, you attract love. You are high, you are vibrating light, and you are spreading that light around. Selfish always pulls you down. Self love, and we always teach our student one thing. What is the first prerequisite for you to be able to be a good healer? Love is the energy. You will learn techniques, you will learn tools. But if you are judging the other person, you are judging your client, if you are judging somebody else, the healing never unfolds. So, being non judgmental and being there for them is the energy with which it vibrates. So, healing, self love is healing ourselves and others. Whereas being selfish is being like always problem for self and others. Oh, I am being selfish, so I'm blocking myself. It creates number of problems for myself and it creates number of problems for others. When I speak about self love, it feels everything is there is a oneness. It integrates, it brings alignment in my own seven chakras. It brings alignment with my own energy. I love myself. I am grounded with the Mother Earth. I am one with the universe. There is a full energy of integration and alignment which a person can feel. Being selfish disintegrates and tears you apart. All the energy is disintegrated here. When we think about any ascended master, we think about, for example, Buddha. The minute when we think about Buddha, the energy feels very integrated and aligned. Forget ascended master, we think about Mother Teresa. We think about like the energy which is so much of compassion, kindness, integrated, aligned. We think about Hitler, we feel disintegrated, tearing me apart. There, yeah, please go to the next slide. Self love is just being. I am just being who I am without judging myself, without constantly putting myself down and saying that, oh, this is not what you're supposed to be, this is what you are being. The self love is just being who you are. And being selfish is something that it constantly generates a feeling into you that I want to be like this. It's always a wanting, it's not being. We're constantly thinking, what would I like to be? Oh, I would one day like to be like this. I would one day like to act like this. It's always comes from the feeling of I want to be something. It is priority, like the foundation is wanting here. And the self love vibrates with I'm just being. There's no question, answer, nothing asked there. The feeling of self love is very fulfilled. How do I know whether I love myself or I'm being selfish? Am I feeling fulfilled in life? Probably I love myself. Am I feeling dissatisfied in life? I constantly have dissatisfaction with my own self, how I look, what I'm doing, am I having a good career, is my finances fine, is my relationship. Are you dissatisfied with people around you all the time with what's happening? What are your normal statements in your daily life? Oh, government is doing this, they don't understand. Oh, this person did that. Are you constantly operating from that dissatisfaction energy? Then probably you are in the category of being selfish. If you are, if you love yourself, love is such a powerful energy. There is no place for any dissatisfaction there. So how do I judge? Because there is a very thin line, and it's very difficult to know whether the act that I did was of the self love or of being selfish. So that energy is very fulfilled. If you're feeling very fulfilled, look at your own statement throughout the day, what you have made, and change them, and automatically the transition will happen. As I said, it's cyclic, and nothing is wrong in life. Neither being selfish is wrong, or obviously being loving yourself is wrong. So don't judge yourself whether this is the act of selfish or self-love. But just if you want to see, just see what statements you are making all the time. And that would define and shift the energy. Self-love is very substantial, it's real. Though how much ever abstract it sounds, self-love sounds very, very abstract. But is it actually abstract? No, it's real and it's so powerful. The power is immense there. It just circulates. If you vibrate with that energy of self love, everybody around you feels happy. Being selfish and thinking that, oh, I love myself, I'm doing that, it's a complete illusion. It's something as clear as me thinking that I am here on earth and God is an illusion. God, which is the energy of love, is an illusion, is actually the other way around. That I am the divine, which is real, and the God is real because the God is within me. So I am that God. And what I think that the physical being that I am on this earth, which I actually find real, is an illusion. So love, the divine, is a reality. It's real, very, very strong, substantial. And the rest is all an illusion. Selfish is a label, like it's an illusion. Self love, when people vibrate, they operate with a sense of assuredness. There's a sense of assuredness which comes to them. And they operate with the same that I feel very assured with what I'm doing. They bring that assuredness when they speak to people around them. And whenever it shifts to the energy of being selfish, there's a lot of argument, there is a lot of defensiveness. We get into a very defensive mode. Why do we get defensive? Because I want to prove myself to somebody else. I want to say what I'm doing is right. I want to prove it to myself whether my act is correct or not. So we stop being a listener. When people are talking, we suddenly have the way we start defending ourselves. Even if people have never said that your act is of being selfish, we start judging, we become defensive, and we want to prove ourselves to them. So if our act is majority time going in a defense, probably I've shifted to being selfish. if my act comes out of very assured, then it is being in the self love. If I have to see self love and being selfish from the consciousness with which I'm vibrating, self love is very divine. It's a divine consciousness. And selfish is our human consciousness. There was no word such being selfish in Creator's dictionary. It's our human creation because we like to teach people with fear, doubts. We create the fear in the name of religion. We create the fear in the name of love. We create the fear in the name of relationships. And we feel that if it is being feared, even to a small child, we'll say, you eat the food, otherwise a lion will come. Oh, if you do that, otherwise this will happen. You do that, you will be burnt. So it's a human consciousness. So selfish is our own creation. And we created that because we knew that the best way to operate with. So Amrita is asking how to operate from assured. Please share example as if someone is doing to. Okay, sorry, the message went. So Amrita, assuredness is something which comes from within. There are times when you are putting an act and you are doing something. There is a sense of feeling assured that yes, this is what I am doing, even if people will call me being selfish. If yesterday, while completing the talk, if I asked each one of you that please share it, get 10 more people, because if I am spreading it, like if 10 more people are getting healed with my action, that is the how it will spread. And I live in the same world. And I added the word at that point of time that yes, I am being selfish. So being able to have that assuredness that if I'm using the word selfish, it does not make me feel negative about it. Because I know that when I am doing it, I am doing, when I come and sit here, the first thing 2 minutes I meditate and say, God, whatever is the group sitting here, whatever is meant for them, you be the channel. I am simply no one, like, God, you speak through me. And it comes from that assuredness, and then you do not feel, so your energy is very assuring. It doesn't make you like judge. If I was not coming from assuredness, I would be thinking and I would have defined, I would have given you logic why I use the word selfish. Because I wanted to make sure, guys, don't misunderstand me. But if when it comes from assuredness, you don't need to prove yourself. It does not matter if this is what people think. So that is the difference. It comes from a very strong feeling that we feel within us. So Jahanara is asking selfish for a good reason. Let's understand it little more deeper. Let's go to the next slide. So first understanding what is true self-love. So a complete acceptance of self and others allows us to vibrate with the self-love. When I completely accept myself with my flaws, with my negativity, with my positivity, without constantly judging myself, I will be able to love myself. When I completely accept people for who they are, what they are, it is one of the example what Vayana has given in the book is that when first time she connected to the law of truth, the law of truth is the one which explained her what is the universe made up of. And then Theta Healing Vayana explains it. from 7 planes of existence. And what are these planes? It is the energy with which you are vibrating. So, for example, first plane is made up of crystals, second plants, third is the animal kingdom and human beings, fourth ancestors, fifth ascended master and multiple dimensions. Sixth are all the laws, and seventh plane is nothing, simply the energy of creator of all that is and pure love. We explain it very much in depth in the class. But she explains it that when I connected to the law of truth, that law asked me to touch a bell, and when I used to touch a bell, I could see the deepest secret or the truth of a person. And the first truth she saw was a client of hers, a lady, where she saw her truth that she was molesting her own children. And the truth was very dirty for her to see. She speaks that when then she saw the truth of other client, then she saw the truth of her third husband. And the truth was so dirty that she decided she was staying in Idaho Falls in USA and she said, I can't stay in this place. I must live because people are so negative. Next day, by default, all people whose truth she had seen came. There's still a question in our human mind what I saw. Was that my imagination or was that real? Was my body, like my consciousness, actually astrally traveling? And what I saw was real, or it was my imagination in my dream? But for her, for some reason, all those people came that day for session. And when she was working on that lady, it just came from her mouth that, what are you talking? You molest your own children. That lady fell on her feet and said, don't tell anyone. Please, like I would change. So, somewhere during the day, she got the confirmation that whatever she had seen was true. And she asked God, why? And Creator answered her only one thing that Vayana, this is your next level of initiation. Initiation is how our soul grows. And Creator explained her that Jesus always knew the truth of others. Jesus always knew that they are going to poison him. He still loved them equally. So I want you to initiate to that level of even when you know the truth of others and being able to love them. All our ascended masters, whether we say Mahavira, whether we say Buddha, all of them knew the truth of others and still being able to love them equally. None of us, probably we are in our journey. I'm not claiming that I have become Buddha, but we all are in our journey to invoke the Buddha within us, to invoke the Mahavira within us, to invoke and operate from that consciousness. And that will be possible when we stop constantly questioning ourselves, is this self love or is it selfish? It's okay, does not matter. It really doesn't matter. If I just keep, am I being able to accept myself? Am I being able to accept people for who they are? I answer, I know what are my learnings. That is the time probably we will be able to be to the place of being able to truly love ourselves. Please, next slide. So, being selfish versus being selfless. It's being taught to us that be selfless. And what is being selfless? Don't think about yourself. Think about others. The joy is in giving. The joy is not in receiving. What is the law of the universe? If I put a ball on the wall, it's going to come back to me. And then we teach the karmic cycle. And then we say that karma is all about whatever you have sowed will come back to you. So giving and receiving, karma, law of what is law of cause and effect? What you give will come back to you. So, what it meant was when I say I'm selfless, is without thinking that carrying the burden of I, me, that I have to do it. I am the doer. That's what it meant to know that I am nothing. It is the doer is the divine, and I am simply a channel. So remove that I and do it. That is what it meant. It didn't mean self sabotage, sacrifice, suffer. It didn't mean that. We somewhere unknowingly got into the pattern of I am selfless only when I sacrifice. I am selfless only when I suffer. I am selfless when I self sabotage. I am selfless when I put somebody on a higher pedestal and pull myself down. I am selfless when I think, oh my God, this will hurt person. It's okay if they are abusive and they hurt me. It never meant to be that. It meant to operate with the divine consciousness. And that's why we simply think that either it is an act of being selfless or it is an act of being selfish. It's black or white. It's not. Life is colorful. And love is the energy which vibrates with colors. It's not dark. It's not. So just be careful about it. In the name of being selfless, stop self sabotaging, self sacrificing, self punishment. Stop doing that. Can we move to the next slide? Why did the human beings started being selfish, started thinking about themselves? When we are born, we are simply divine. What do we say? बच्चा भगवान का स्वरूप होता है. There is a God that we see in a child. There is smile, their innocence is unbeatable. None of us carry that innocence in us. The innocence with which every child vibrates with. There would not be a single one example where you guys, Madhu is saying she can't hear me. There's no sound. Can you hear me? Yes. Madhu, something wrong from your side. Yeah, they all can hear me. So you cannot give me a single example to tell me that, you know what, I met this child and this child didn't have any innocent. And the child is born and I went to the hospital. Child was vibrating with so much of thought process, doing this, doing that. Child is always innocent. But we human beings, God has given us a one part in the brain which operates out of survival mechanism. And it's needed because it's a survival mechanism which kicks in and child knows I need to cry to be able to breathe in. It's a survival mechanism which kicks in and child knows that I have to suck to take the milk and I have to make the effort. It's a survival mechanism which constantly keeps us to take action. And that is how we protect. So it is a survival mechanism of human being which gets kicked in. And they realize that, oh, probably by me constantly thinking about others, by if I'm constantly giving food to others, I also need food. How will I survive? I need to take food into my stomach because my body also needs food. Or if I'm giving all the money, but I will also need the money to run my house. If I just give myself, I give my kidney to somebody, I give this to, but like my body also will need it for me to survive. So it is the survival mechanism in us, which what we define as sometimes we begin from being selfish. Oh, let me think about it. Okay, let me first have the 2 bites and then I can give it to somebody. Even when we sit in the flight, They tell us first you put the mask, then you help somebody else. Because if you are not surviving, how are you going to help somebody else? For me to be able to help others, to be able to be there, I need to be alive. And to be alive, my physical body requires something. So, survival mechanism taught us to think about ourselves, what we define as selfish. Selfish is a label. Please stop using this word in your vocabulary if you have a negative connection to that. Next slide, please. So, as I said, it's a cyclic thing. Self love or loving the self can become selfish when there's a lack of awareness with which we operate. I love myself, but somebody is really sick, and if I say, oh, no, no, this is my exercise time, I'm not going to look after you, then it will be selfish. What is the solution for that? Question yourself, introspection. When you are introspecting yourself, you operate in your daily life with awareness. You allow yourself to operate with self love and stop making the self love being selfish. The minute that awareness goes down, self love can become selfish anytime. And what would there is a cycle from people being selfish or constantly thinking about the self, self obsessed with the self, thinking only of myself. None of them is good or bad. Like if we learn that as a healer, you are constantly thinking about others and not yourself. That's bad. And if you are constantly thinking about yourself and not others, that's also bad. It's the same thing between self love and being selfish. So, if like somebody feels that, oh, this is what I am, and your introspection tells you, I want to make my journey from being selfish to loving myself, that happens by forgiveness, forgiving people for what they have done, forgiving myself for what I did, making myself guilt free, having gratitude for what I am receiving, having gratitude in my action, having gratitude in my words, having gratitude for myself, my body, having gratitude to the divine, having gratitude to people around me, accepting people for who they are and what they are. So it's very simple, it's cyclic. I would end this topic by simply saying that rather than constantly logically getting stuck, am I selfless, selfish? Am I loving myself or not? Get these qualities, focus on that, and automatically there will be a sense of fulfillment which will come and you start vibrating with the same. I hope this really helps. Today the explanation has taken a long. We will simply do one or two downloads and close the session. Yes? Already? So would you all like to know what it feels like to understand and operate from loving yourself and self-love? To understand loving the self through Creator's definition and perspective of the seventh plane of Creator of all that is. I know how to love myself. I know it is safe for me to love myself. It is possible for me to love myself. I'm deserving of operating with self love. I live my daily life with self love. I love myself without the fear of being selfish, without the fear of being self obsessed, without sabotaging the self, without pulling myself down, without degrading myself, without constantly fear being attacked and being in the survival mechanism, and without attracting the situation to constantly remain in survival mechanism or self-sabotaging patterns. I know how to do this easily, effortlessly, and gracefully. I am the energy of self love. I have the receptors of self love. I operate with the same energy of loving the self into every cell, fiber, tissue, molecule of your body, every area of your life, at all the four level of your beliefs, for your highest and best in the highest and best possible way for you. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. Creator, show me. Please say yes to receive these feelings. Would you like to know what it feels like to live your daily life being aware with introspection towards the self without constantly judging yourself, without constantly labeling yourself, and to live your daily life with the virtues of forgiveness, gratitude, acceptance, love, care, honor, self belief, self confidence, kindness, generosity, compassion, and that it is completely possible to vibrate with the same and operate in my daily life with the same into every cell of my body, every area of my life, at all the four level of my beliefs, for my highest and best in my highest and best possible way. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. Creator, show me. Please say yes to receive these feelings. And just allow yourself to feel the reservoir of self love in your heart chakra, the center of your chest. Feel that energy vibrate all around you. Loving the self, loving others, loving the self for who I am, what I am, and how I am. Loving others for who they are, what they are, and how they are. And all these downloads, we download it into a higher self, your angel guides as well. With your permission, passing unconditional love, light, and healing to each one present in the group now. Thank you, it is done, it is done, it is done. As in when you feel fine, feeling being loved by, being lovable, being happy, being light, you can open your eyes and come back to the room. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this explains or this brings some clarity to all of you about it, and keeping this understanding in mind, you allow yourself to have love for the self I see you all tomorrow, 9 a.m. sharp. My numbers have not gone up. That responsibility is yours. That I am putting that responsibility to you all who are my soul family now. Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow. Wishing you all an absolutely beautiful life vibrating with self love. Thank you from the team of Sister Healing. Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow.